We're going to solve a system of linear inequalities, and so you got to remember a couple things. First of all, we could have dotted lines or we could have solid lines depending on whether the inequality is underlined or not. This is just a less than. That's going to be a dotted line. This one over here is going to be a greater than or equal to. That's going to be a solid line. And I'm going to graph this one in red, and I'm going to graph this one in this dark blue color. Let's graph the first one. The red one is in slope-intercept form, so it starts at 1, and then it's got a slope of 1/4. So we're going to go up 1 and over 4, and I'm also going to go down 1 and over 4. And this is a dotted line, and it kind of moves in this direction here. And it's shaded less than, which means it's going to be underneath the line. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a couple of marks down there to let me know that on that red line, we're shading on the bottom. Because on the blue one, it's going to be shaded on the top. The blue one starts at down 1. And it also has a slope of 1/4. So these lines are parallel. They have the same slope. They have different y-intercepts. And this one gets shaded above. And I kind of missed my x-intercept there. But this one gets shaded above because it's greater than, and that means we're shading here. And the only area of a solution has to be in the common shaded area, which means the shaded area for our solution here is going to be in between these two lines. And I actually made a mistake on that bottom line. That bottom line should be solid. I just noticed that I missed that. So hopefully you were paying attention and maybe wanted to send me an email to correct me. That's a solid line. And I know I shouldn't have any shading below. It should be all in between those two lines. So that right there represents the solution. All those dots in the middle are part of a solution set. Now, this one is a little bit more challenging. First of all, the x plus y greater than or equal to 5. So these are both solid lines. I'm going to put them into slope-intercept form, so I'm going to solve them for y. So this first one, y is greater than or equal to, and I'm going to have x first, negative x plus 5. So it's got a -1 slope, right? -1/1. It starts up 5, and it's got a -1 slope. And this is a solid line when I'm done. So it looks like it's going to go something like that. And let's go get the shading on this particular line. It's shaded greater than or equal to, so it's going to be shaded above. And that doesn't mean that this is our answer. It just means part of this is what solves the first inequality. Let's go graph the second one. I'm going to turn this one into slope-intercept form also. This will take a couple steps. 2x minus y greater than or equal to 7. And I'm going to go ahead and get y by itself. So I'll take away the 2x. And that gives me a negative y greater than or equal to, don't forget the negative sign, because when I divide by a negative, I'm going to flip this around. That's a negative 2x plus 7. So now my last step is to divide by a -1. And that's going to give me my final inequality, which is y is less than or equal to, right? That symbol had to switch. I don't know why I forgot that negative sign. That's 2x minus 7. So let's graph that one first. Goes down 7. It's got a +2 slope. So we'll go up 2 and over 1, up 2 over 1, and they're going to intersect right there. And I'm going to give it the old decent line. And this one is shaded underneath. So it's going to be shaded down here. So none of this is in common, but this right here is what's in common. You can see it's different color now. This right here is the area that solves both inequalities. So this area here is where I would finally shade. And if I could, I would probably start taking away anything that wasn't part of the common solution. There's no need for it to be there. My final solution would be this stuff over here. And of course it goes on out there because the graph carries on forever. let's take a look at one. This one is already done for us. You know, these are lines we've graphed before. X is less than or equal to 1. Well, there's x is 1, and it's a solid line because I can see that it's underlined. So x is less than 1 is this vertical line right through 1, and it's all the stuff to the left. So I'm gonna just make a note that we're the left of this side of this line, and then we're going to graph the other one here, which is y is less than or equal to -2, y is -2 is here, and these are all the dots that make up that line. That's a horizontal line, and this one said less than, so this is under. So we're going to be on the left side of the green one and under the red one, which means this is the common area that they have in common. It's the only part that's going to be left of the green line and also underneath the red line. Let's take a look. We got one last problem to do, and this one actually has 3 inequalities, so they get a little bit more challenging. I'm going to graph the second one. I'm going to graph that one in black. I'm going to graph this one in blue, and then we'll do this one last. I'll do the top one last. So let's go graph x is greater than or equal to 0. So this is x is 0. This is where x is 0. We're actually on the y-axis. X equals or x is greater than, those are always vertical lines. And I'm going to just shade, I'm going to put 3 lines, okay? Those are all possible areas of my solution. I'm going to graph the light blue one. Y is greater than or equal to 0. So y is 0 is right here. It's on the x-axis. And it's just a horizontal line at 0. And this was greater than, so greater than is up here, and that means that I already have a candidate that's gone. I know this isn't it because those aren't above the blue line, and it's not this one either because it's got to be over in this corner. So something else is going on with this third line. Let's take it and solve it. X plus y less than or equal to 4. And we're going to get x by itself. So we're going to end up with an inequality of y less than or equal to -x plus 4. Let's graph that. Starts at 4. It's another solid line. It's got a -1 slope. So it's going to look like this. And that's my line. And you can see that I'm going to create a situation because this one has to be shaded underneath. And you can see the area that's going to overlap. The area that's going to overlap is a very well-defined narrow area right here because it's got to be above the x-axis, it's got to be to the right of the y-axis, and it's got to be below that red line. So it's really just that triangle, and I could probably take out, I don't know why that's not working. I don't really need those. So you're really just looking at that narrow area right in here. That's where our solution is.